Alright, the 13 colonies. If you're an American, you definitely know about American history, the American Revolution, but I guess if you're from, if you're from South Sudan, you might generally not know about the American history, but just know it mainly consists of the 13 colonies, American Revolution, the first presidents, and other stuff that happened over the course of like 100 years. Going back to the 13 colonies, we need to understand that the 13 colonies as a whole represents an amazing question. Was the colonization of the New World a good thing, and for whom did it benefit? Let's go through this question step by step and look at the facts while we go through it. To this, we must answer the first sub-question. Was the colonization of the 13 colonies generally a good thing? An argument that this question might bring up as a whole is that this question mainly depends on which side of the political spectrum you're on. Some people say that it wasn't a good thing and that the land isn't even ours, it's only the Native Americans. Others didn't even like the Native Americans. But you do not actually need to be on the political spectrum to answer this question. Because in all reality, we can understand that the colonization of the 13 colonies was a good thing without believing that the First Nations people or the Native Americans people should be ethnically cleansed, because the colonizers built up a society of religious freedom, such as colonies like Massachusetts or North Carolina, freedom, and eventually the equality of man and the freedom for everyone. According to AmericanHistory.sci.edu, colonists came to America because they wanted political liberty. They wanted religious freedom and economic opportunity. This proves that the colonists came so that they can build a society of freedom, yes, like we have now in the United States. And even according to USIS.gov, they said that in the 1600s and 1700s, Europeans came to North America looking for religious freedom, economic opportunities, and political liberty. This further emphasizes the fact that the colonizers came to build a society with economic opportunity. They built a society with religious freedom and freedom in general. Now, the only question, or I guess sub-question, that is left unknown, at least as of right now, is who did it benefit? Well, we could put the people who it could possibly benefit into four groups: the indigenous tribes, the enslaved Africans, the indentured servants, and the colonials. Let's start with the indigenous tribes, since they were the first on the land. Some experiences that the indigenous tribes had was that some of them helped the colonialists settle and get food. But helping someone get food does not benefit the person who is helping them. It only benefits the person who's getting helped. According to the National Library of Medicine, the Wampanoag people, the people of the First Light, are responsible for saving the Pilgrims from starvation and death during the harsh winter of 1620 through 1621. But as I have stated before, the person helping isn't the one getting benefit, it's the one who's being helped. And we will get to the people being helped later. Now it's time for the enslaved Africans. Well, it's obvious how their life was. Their experiences were not good, and they were whipped and didn't earn any money for their work. Now the indentured servants. At first, they were probably having a bad experience because they had to work in order to come to the New World. Afterward, though, they ended up having food, shelter, and clothing after they got finished working, along with a free passage to the New World. Although these people did not benefit, as indentured servitude was fundamentally exploitive, and it actually include a founding of a slave-based economy that would later be shown within the coming years of America. According to PBS.org, their life was not an easy one, and the punishments meted out to the people who wronged were harsher than those for non-servants. An indentured servant's contract can be extended as punishment for breaking a law, such as running away, or in the case of female servants, becoming pregnant. Even then, according to digitalhistory.uh.edu, half of all white servants in Chesapeake colonies of Virginia and Maryland died within 5 years of their arrival. Now for the colonists. The colonists benefited the most out of every group we've talked about. They benefited because of the reasons that we talked about earlier. By leaving England, they gained economic opportunities, religious freedom, and political liberty. Despite this, they were still receiving subsidies and imperial protection from Britain. And as we talked about earlier, they were the ones getting help by the Native Americans. According to the University of Michigan, the subordinate position of the colonies to the British metropole within the merciless framework does imply that the British were sole beneficiaries of this relationship. Despite this subordinate position, the colonies benefited from British rule by receiving subsidies and imperial protection. This piece of evidence proves that even though they moved to a place where it was controlled by Britain, it was still good because they received subsidies. Also, they escaped religious persecution. And remember when we discussed earlier, when going back to americanhistory.site.edu, where it clearly states, and as I discussed before, colonists came to America because they wanted political liberty, they wanted religious freedom, and economic opportunity. This is another benefit that the colonists gain from moving to the New World. So in conclusion, the colonization of the 13 colonies was a good thing because to the original colonists, it provided economic opportunities, religious freedom, and political liberty, while also gaining help from the Native Americans. And it mostly benefited the colonists because when they moved there, they had the resources to build, they gained economic opportunities, they got subsidies from the UK, they got religious freedom and political liberty in which none of the other groups really had.